Hello, English learners, and welcome back to Cozy English Corner. This is your safe space to improve your English through real, meaningful conversations. I am Alex.
And I am Harper. We are really glad you are here with us today. Whether you are driving, doing chores, or just sitting quietly with a warm drink.
It is a particularly gray and chilly afternoon here in Columbus, Ohio. The kind of day where the sky just matches the concrete, and you feel like you need a little extra warmth.
Exactly. The wind coming off the Olentangy River today is sharp. It is the perfect weather to stay inside, slow down, and maybe look inward.
Looking inward is exactly what we are doing today. We are discussing a topic that sounds simple, but is incredibly difficult. How to love yourself more than anyone else.
And we need to clarify right away. We do not mean being selfish or arrogant. We mean respecting yourself, protecting your energy, and treating yourself with basic human kindness.
Before we go further, if you enjoy our channel, please remember to subscribe and leave a comment. Tell us one small way you plan to be kind to yourself this week. It helps us reach more learners like you.
So, Alex, when we talk about self-love, I immediately think about the culture here in the Midwest. We have this reputation for Midwestern night.
Yes, everyone holds the door, everyone smiles at the grocery store, and everyone says yes to favors, even when they are completely exhausted.
Exactly. And that creates a hidden pain. People are lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, feeling an intense tightness in their chest because they agreed to help someone tomorrow and they have no energy left for themselves.
That chest tightness is so real. It is the anxiety of being the reliable one. You become the person everyone counts on, but who do you count on?
Right. You end up abandoning yourself. You teach people that your time is less valuable than theirs, and eventually you resent them for it, even though you are the one who opened the door.
That is a powerful statement. You teach people what to expect. If you always reply to work emails at 11 p.m., you are telling your boss that you do not need sleep.
Yes, and breaking that habit feels unnatural at first. When you finally delay a response, your brain registers it as a threat. You think, they are going to be angry with me.
Which brings us to a fascinating psychological fact. I read recently about the fawning trauma response. Can you explain that, Harper? Because it sounds a lot like people-pleasing.
It is exactly that. Most people know fight or flight when facing stress, but fawning is a third response. It means you instantly try to please the person causing you stress, hoping that keeping them happy will keep you safe.
Wow. So when someone asks for a huge favor and you instantly say, "Of course, no problem," while feeling sick to your stomach, that is not just being polite. It is a nervous system reaction.
Precisely. Your brain thinks the only way to survive the social interaction is to sacrifice your own comfort. Realizing this changes everything. You stop blaming yourself for being weak and start slowly training your nervous system to feel safe saying no.
That is incredible. So how do we begin that training? How do we start choosing ourselves without feeling immense guilt?
It starts with catching the sorry habit. Pay attention to how many times a day you apologize for simply taking up space. Sorry, can I ask a question? Sorry, my house is messy.
Oh, I hear that all the time. People apologize for basic human actions. If it takes them 10 minutes to respond to a text message, they start with, "I am so sorry for the delay."
Right. We use apologies to smooth over interactions. But every time you say sorry when you have done nothing wrong, you send a tiny signal to your brain that you are a burden.
Instead of apologizing, what should we say? What is a practical phrase our English learners can use?
Replace the apology with gratitude. Instead of sorry for the delay, say thank you for your patience. Instead of sorry for complaining, say thank you for listening to me. It changes the entire dynamic.
I love that. Thank you for your patience. It feels confident. It establishes your worth instead of shrinking it. And that concept of worth is something a lot of people struggle with, isn't it?
Deeply. Many of us tie our worth to how useful we are to others. If I fix everyone's problems, I am valuable. If I sit on the couch and rest, I feel useless.
The guilt of resting. I know people who physically cannot watch a movie without also folding laundry or checking emails on their phone. They feel like rest must be earned.
Yes. And that brings us to setting boundaries. Boundaries are not about building walls to keep people out. They are about building doors with locks, so you decide who comes in and when.
I think the fear is that if you close the door, people will leave, especially those who were used to you always being available.
That is the harsh reality. When you start setting boundaries, the people who push back the most are usually the ones who benefited from you not having any. It is uncomfortable, but it is necessary.
How do you handle that discomfort? When you say, "I cannot help you move this weekend, I need to rest," and they respond with disappointment or silence, that silence is heavy.
You let the silence sit. Do not fill it with long excuses. A major mistake people make is over-explaining. They write a 5-paragraph message to justify saying no.
That is so true. We feel like no is a bad word, so we try to wrap it in 1,000 reasons to soften the blow. But it just makes us look unsure.
Exactly. Just say, "I am not available this weekend, but I hope the move goes smoothly." That is polite, clear, and complete. Your need to rest is a valid reason.
This ties perfectly into another counterintuitive fact. Psychologists talk about something called compassion fatigue. You literally run out of empathy if you do not replenish yourself.
Yes, people who give endlessly eventually become resentful and numb. So by forcing yourself to help everyone, you might actually become a less kind person in the long run. Self-care preserves your kindness.
I want to highlight that for our listeners. Self-care preserves your kindness. That is a beautiful way to look at it. You are not choosing yourself against others. You are maintaining your ability to be a good person.
And protecting your inner voice is a huge part of that maintenance. We all have an inner critic, that voice in our head that says, "You are failing, you are not smart enough."
The inner critic is relentless. It finds one minor mistake from 5 years ago and plays it on repeat at 2 in the morning.
It truly does. The rule here is simple. Never speak to yourself in a way you would not speak to a friend. If a friend made a mistake at work, you would not say, "You are completely useless."
Of course not. We would say, "It happens to everyone. You will fix it tomorrow." Why is it so hard to offer ourselves that same grace?
Because we live with our own thoughts constantly. We see all our flaws. But you have to actively interrupt that negative voice. When it says, "I am a failure," you must consciously say, "No, I just had a hard day."
That is a great technique. Treat the inner critic like an annoying radio station. You have the power to change the channel. It takes practice, but it works.
It takes immense practice. And part of loving yourself is forgiving yourself for the times you fall back into old habits. Progress is not a straight line.
We often talk about the concept of tiny bricks on this channel. Building confidence and self-love happens one tiny brick at a time. What is a tiny brick someone can place today?
A tiny brick is choosing not to reply to an urgent-sounding message right away. Just wait 30 minutes. Prove to your brain that the world will not end if you are not instantly available.
I like that. Leaving the phone in another room while you drink your morning coffee. Reclaiming your mornings before the world starts demanding things from you.
Exactly. The first hour of your day belongs to you. Not your boss, not social media, not the news. Protect that space fiercely. That is self-love in action.
And as you protect your space, you start to notice things. Small joys that you missed when you were rushing, the taste of your coffee, the sunlight coming through the window.
Yes. We often think happiness requires a perfect life, a promotion, or a big vacation. But real joy lives in the quiet, empty spaces you create when you stop overworking.
That is profound. Joy lives in the empty spaces. If your schedule is 100% full, joy has nowhere to sit.
Precisely. And to keep those spaces empty, you have to accept that you might outgrow certain people. Not everyone wants you to be healthy. Some people prefer the exhausted version of you.
That is a hard truth. Sometimes the relationship was entirely built on your willingness to sacrifice your needs for theirs. When you stop sacrificing, the relationship fades.
It is sad, but let it fade. You cannot drag a toxic dynamic into a healthy future. Surround yourself with people who celebrate your boundaries, not complain about them.
I hope everyone listening takes that to heart. Now, let's transition smoothly to our vocabulary review for the English learners. We covered some excellent words today.
That is a great idea. There were many useful expressions related to psychology and daily habits.
Let's start with abandoning yourself. Harper, how would you define that in simple terms?
To abandon yourself means to ignore your own needs, feelings, or health to make someone else happy. Example: I was so tired, but I abandoned myself and went to the party anyway.
Perfect. Next word, relentless. We use this to describe the inner critic.
Relentless means something that never stops or never gets less strict. Example: the rain today in Ohio is relentless. Or, his inner critic is relentless.
Very nice. How about resentful? This is a crucial emotion when we fail to set boundaries.
Resentful means feeling bitter or angry because you think you've been treated unfairly. Example: she felt resentful because she did all the work while her team rested.
And finally, replenish. This relates directly to the idea of protecting your energy.
To replenish means to fill something up again after it has been used. Example: after a long week of meetings, I need to sleep to replenish my energy.
Excellent review. Now, to wrap up today's session, I want to ask everyone listening to take a deep breath right now.
Breathe in slowly and let it out. Remind yourself that you do not need to earn your right to rest. You are enough exactly as you are.
Remember, the way you treat yourself sets the standard for how the world will treat you. Be kind, be firm with your boundaries, and do not apologize for existing.
Thank you for spending your time with us today. It is a gift, and we appreciate it.
This is Alex and Harper signing off from Cozy English Corner. Keep practicing, keep protecting your energy, and we will see you in the next episode.